ladies and gentlemen, so today we're starting our very first recording, and you're gonna hopefully really like this. Remember, you can pause it, stop it at any time, rewatch it, whatever you need to do, just like we talked about in class. So our first chapter is going to be a chapter on integers. Some of you might find this review, some of you might find it new, but hopefully we're going to have a good time doing it. So we're going to start off with some vocabulary, so you need to be writing this down. So integers are positive and negative whole numbers. All right, so we're not going to have decimals and fractions. We'll get there, but for now we're just going to only worry about whole numbers. So our opposites are the same number with different signs. So they're going to be on opposite sides of zero, and we'll look at that in a second. Additive inverse is another name for opposites. Absolute value. Now this is one thing that might be new this year, even if you've seen the work with integers from before. But absolute value is the distance a number is from zero. It has special symbols, and we're going to pick a number. So I'm going to start with the number 4. And the absolute value, the symbol is two straight lines going through or on either side of the number 4. All right, ways to write positive integers. We either put a little plus sign, or, so again, plus 4, or we just leave it blank, okay? Negative sign has to have a negative in there. So note, I want you to underline this. I want you to star it. A negative sign really means to do the opposite, right? So we're going to talk about opposites. So knowing this, what does negative of negative 4 mean? Well, this means the opposite of a negative 4. The opposite of negative 4 means that it's going to be 4. All right, let's see how these look on a number line. So I want you to count, find the 7th line, and that's going to be our 0. Right, so 0 is now the center of the number line. And we know, right, from elementary school, that if you go to the right of 0, that's where our positive numbers are. So let's fill in. We're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Right, and our arrow tells us that these numbers keep going. Right, we know that numbers go on forever. On the other side, we now are going to have our negatives. Negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, negative 4, negative 5, negative 6. Right? And as we go to the right, our numbers get bigger. Get bigger. So the further you are to the right on the number line, the bigger you are. As we go this way to the left, our numbers get smaller. And again, you should be writing all of this on your paper as well. Comparison symbols, we're going to be using these all year, and for whatever reason, kids seem to forget them all the time. This symbol means greater than. Oops, helps if I can spell correctly, sorry. Okay, so it's opening. The opening goes towards the bigger number. This symbol means less than. All right, so we're going to have to look at those. All right, complete the graphic organizer. You've used graphic organizers before, I'm sure. So what I want you to do is to take a minute and to fill these in, and we're going to talk about it in class. So we'll compare your answers when you come into class tomorrow. But what do they have the same? That's going to go here. And what do they have that's different? What do negative numbers only have? What do positive numbers only have? And again, we're going to compare our results with those tomorrow in class. So let's take a look at the next page. So some practice. Write an integer to represent each situation. So 8 degrees below 0, below means that it's negative. So this would be -8. A $4 gain means that it's positive, so that would be just 4. Opposite of each integer, all right, I want you to take a second and try those. All right, so the opposite of -5 is 5, and the opposite of 4 is -4. These are those absolute values, so this is really saying how far away from 0 is -17? Well, it's going to be 17 spaces away. Number 6 is saying, how far away is 65 from 0? Well, it's going to be 65 spaces away. So for absolute value, you're just taking whatever the number is and you're forgetting if there's no positive or negative sign. Comparing the integers, -7 and -2. Well, -7 is further to the left, so it's going to be less than -2. -67 and 45, again, -67 is going to be less than 45. All right, now we're going to talk about how we can use our number line to help us some more here. So on our number line, we're going to be talking about doing things called counting up and counting down. Counting up is going to correspond to positive numbers, and counting down is going to be negative. Because this, counting up, means that you're going to the right, and counting down means you're going to go to the left. So a negative or a subtraction changes the direction. Again, please underline and star. A negative or a subtraction changes the direction on a number line. All right, so let's use the number line to see what we can do here. Where do you begin when locating a number on the number line? Well, we begin at 0. What do you call the distance between a number and 0 on a number line? Well, that's our definition from before. That's absolute value. All right, what is the relationship between 7 and -7? Well, if you look, right, here's 7, here's -7. They're on opposite sides of the of 0, so these are opposites. And our other vocabulary word for that, or additive inverse. All right, let's see if we have any more questions over here. So what is the sum of the card value shown? Use the counting on method on the provided number line to justify your answer. Okay, so this tells me this is where I'm going to start. So I'm going to start at 5. So here's 0, I'm going to go up to 5. So here's where I'm starting. I'm going to put a little dot so I know. -5 means I need to count down 5 spaces, right? That's what this is telling me. Count down. So I'm going to start here, and I'm going to go down 5 spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. This tells me to now count down another 4 spaces. So from here, this is where I ended up. I'm going to go 4 more spaces to the left, counting down. 1, 2, 3, 4. This, because it's a positive, the 8 tells me to count up. All right, I'm going to do it underneath just so that I'm not going over these. So I'm here. This is where I ended up. Now I have to count up 8 spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, look at that. So I'm at 4. So all of those cards, this is a way that we can do the sum. What is the final position on the number line? We're at 4. What card or combination of cards would you need to get back to 0? Well, if I'm at 4 and I want to get to 0, first of all, which direction would that be? I'm here. I'm going to use a different color. I'm here. I want to get here. So that is left, which means it's a -4. because it's counting down. All right, any questions? As always, bring them to class with you, and I will see you guys tomorrow.